I'd like to call up a friend of mine, a fellow parishioner from St. Maria Goretti Parish in Linfield, Cori Connor-Morse, to share her witness story. Her story about the amazing grace of God that's touched her life in the past few years and brought her from a place of death and darkness to a place of His light and life.
I actually went to Mass this morning at St. Adelaide's, and I got on my knees and I said, God, you know I'm not good at this. I keep inserting my own will into everything, so please use me today to do your will. And I came home and took off my skirt, put on my jeans to come and see Abby Johnson, and then I got an email from Jamie asking for help. So be careful what you pray for. But I must say, as soon as I heard Marianne was here, I searched the crowd until I found her, and as soon as I saw her face, my heart stopped racing, and I knew I could do this. So I'm dedicating this to God and to Marianne Lutine. We all reasonably expect to remember certain dates in our lives forever. We believe we'll remember our high school graduation. I gave one of the commencement addresses, and I don't even remember it. College graduation, I vaguely remember a very long and boring address by a GE executive. Your wedding day? Not really. It seems that the pictures are what stimulate the beautiful memories we choose to retain. There was a day in 1983 when I was 20 years old, a junior in college, and I can tell you every detail. I was married to my high school sweetheart. Our day started at about 5 a.m. There was an earthquake in New York State that we felt in our apartment in Lynn. I got dressed in dark navy pinstripe straight-leg jeans, and I wore a navy V-neck sweatshirt. I put on burgundy bass tasseled loafers and a matching belt. I also know I ate 2 pints of strawberry Haagen-Dazs that I bought on the ride home at about 3 p.m. It was the first day of my struggle with weight. I don't know about you, but I can't remember what I wore or what I ate or what time I woke up yesterday. It's remarkable that there's nothing that I forget about October 7th, 1983. We got in the car around 6. My husband drove, and we went to 711 Boylston Street for a 7:30 appointment. According to MapQuest, that appointment was exactly 1.62 miles from where we are today. A 38-minute walk, 9 minutes by car. It is an office building now, but it wasn't then. I had never been there before, and I knew only a few hours after we arrived that I would never go back under any circumstances, ever, and I never did. I was asked, do you have any religious convictions that you would like to discuss with a counselor? I vehemently answered no. I truly believed that I had none. I was a proud and true atheist till the suction started and my heart raced and I begged for the abortionist to stop. Too late. Something was telling me this was wrong. Was it the sobbing from every other woman in that room? My cradled Catholic guilt? Natural law? God? If I did believe that I had just killed the only child I would ever conceive, My mechanism for survival immediately became suppression. I knew it was wrong on that Friday before Columbus Day, but survival from that moment on relied on Haagen-Dazs, Fritos, throwing myself into my education and later my career. Denial and the perception that if it ever got too difficult, there was a way out, a desperate way out, to which I was more than willing to resort. The years that followed were not pretty. Depression, panic attacks, and suicide attempts. I was in counseling for many years. It didn't help. It likely kept me alive because I was conscientious and I kept my appointments. But the counselors kept telling me that it was perfectly fine to have had an abortion. One of them even told me about hers. Another encouraged me to buy a vacation home and enjoy the freedom that came from a life without children. Through all of the personal torment and regret, I still believed that abortion was a woman's right. I continued to be somewhat of a pro-choice ambassador, although with markedly less conviction than I had in my speech class a few months after my abortion. Just because it hadn't been right for me, abortion was still necessary and perfectly justifiable in our society. Wasn't it? How could a woman truly be free without her rightful escape hatch from the slavery of motherhood? I was definitely right about this. I had to be. My mental health hinged precariously upon my being right. I got divorced, dated far too many men. I got remarried, divorced again, and finally gave up the dream. Once I gave up, I was given my husband, my true husband. In 2001, Steve married me, a depressed, unfulfilled, and broken woman, and he loved me anyway. Love has a way of healing things, or at least bringing attention to the stubborn wounds that won't heal. The years went by and my sadness deepened despite our life that was so very good in many ways. At some point, I opened my eyes and ears to hear pro-life messages. Probably for the first time in my life. I heard an interview with a woman who had undergone a second trimester abortion. Her baby was born alive into a toilet in Florida. She was an emotional mess. It got me thinking and believing that there must have been a better way for that woman. There must have been a better way for me, rather than existing in the life of regret that had dominated the past 3 decades. Without any warning, I announced to my husband that I had made an appointment with a priest. I needed to talk to a priest just once. The stirrings of what-ifs wouldn't leave me alone. What if I could learn something that might help me? What if I received the sacrament of reconciliation? Might I feel something different after having been excommunicated for so very long? What if the church had been right about abortion? March 17th, 2009, at the age of 46, I met with the local parish priest, and my life was forever changed. He told me that my abortion had indeed been wrong. For the first time in 26 years, I heard the truth. Society kept insisting that it wasn't wrong. It was legal, it was acceptable, it was common. It was the right thing to do in the situation of an inconvenient pregnancy. I sobbed for nearly 2 hours with my priest, the hardest and best 2 hours of my life. I couldn't get any better. I couldn't get out of my own way until I internalized the truth of what I had done all those years ago. The truth was that that 6 to 8 week old fetus that I was assured was not a living being yet was in fact a baby. He was my baby, and He was my only baby. I like to think that I would have chosen to keep him had I known all that. Still selfish after all these years. My priest sent me to Project Rachel for true counseling of a spiritual and emotional nature rather than a societal, secular, clinical nature. I went with trepidation, but with hope. I met many women who suffered with the same issues that I did: promiscuity, divorce, depression, anxiety, addictions. The church had been right about abortion. It was wrong, not just for me, but for all of us. Healing from an abortion is a lengthy process. 26 years of ingrained thinking is difficult to undo. It is still a constant struggle to forgive myself and to curb the longing for the child I should have been mother to. My Project Rachel retreat opened my mind and my heart to the other truths that I had denied since I was a teenager. All it took was humility, a pastor with the patience of Job, and a husband who loved me. And of course, God, who had called me back incessantly. I'm proud that my faith and my knowledge of the truth continues to grow. I even feel joy sometimes. I'm trying to give back now in gratitude for all that has been given to me. I coordinate a 40 Days for Life campaign at the hospital in Lynn, where I was born. In Lynn, where my child was conceived, where abortions take place 2 days a week. At that 40-day site, we are met with constant ridicule from passersby who think we should mind our own business, get a job, stop harassing women, and go have anatomically impossible relations with ourselves. We are cursed in several different languages on a regular basis. I've even had my life threatened. We are accused of trying to impose our religious beliefs on others. It was actually the other way around for me. My religious beliefs began to form when I realized the truth about life. We continue to go out on that sidewalk, crazy as it seems to most people, because we have a chance to save lives if we give witness to life as we are directed by our faith to do. A witness that can be incredibly unpopular. We did help to save a baby. She was born on September 11th, 2012, and she had been scheduled to be aborted last February. Her parents saw people praying in front of the clinic and they turned their car around. The baby is a girl, and contrary to what society will tell you, she was a girl last February when she was the size of my thumb. And she has a brother and sister and 2 parents who love her. Her name is Eleanor, and she's entitled to live the life that God intended for her to live on this earth. All children deserve that, whether they are planned or not, whether they are loved or wanted or accepted by their natural parents. Babies have unique DNA at conception, a heartbeat that is detectable at only 21 days, and hiccups and pain and dreams and the comfort of sucking their thumbs, all long before they are born. Society tries to tell you that there is not a miraculous new life at conception. Society is wrong. All babies are wanted by someone, and all mothers should be told this in order to make a choice for life. One life can't be more valuable than another. One person's rights simply can't trump another's. Both are logical impossibilities. I also speak to young adults in confirmation classes about my abortion. I tell them about the beauty and richness of a life lived with faith, hope, forgiveness, and genuine love. But I know that what they will likely remember most is the old lady who stood before them, still crying after nearly 30 years, crying about one baby who wasn't given the chance to be born. And I tell them that the whole world changed on that day. Like George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, our lives touch each other's in countless and miraculous ways. I pray that my child, whom I named Patrick, is touching your life today in some meaningful and heartfelt way. Thank you.